Good evening and welcome. My name is Ryan McGowan, and I'm the president of the BHS chapter of the Rho Kappa National Social Studies Honor Society. Thank you for being here to help us recognize and celebrate our third group of inductees to the Berlin High School chapter of Rho Kappa. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I would like to introduce the Superintendent of Berlin Public Schools, Brian Benigni.
Thank you. Before I begin, I just think it's wonderful to see all of you in the auditorium here and not looking at a blank space. So I hope there's many more events to come before the end of the year. So thank you for having me here this evening. As a superintendent of schools, I'm honored to have been invited to speak for the Berlin High School Rho Kappa Honor Society induction. I congratulate each of you, both parents and students. Your achievements of excellence in the area of social studies, which included interest and understanding of and appreciation for social studies, are being honored here tonight by your induction into this prestigious society. An honor such as this is a wonderful way for the school and the community to recognize and celebrate the choices and sometimes the sacrifices you have made. However, it is important that the qualities and character traits that have been demonstrated thus far in your life continue to grow and form the foundation for your future success of tomorrow. Each of you has demonstrated that scholarship is much more than just getting A's. It is a lifelong love of learning. In the end, it's the sum of small choices. Each time you decide you want to learn something, the experience will be so rewarding that the next time becomes easier. Soon, learning becomes a habit. At that point, your desire to learn becomes a natural trait of who you are. Knowledge can still be hard to gain, but knowing you've gained confidence and commitment is an awesome reward. Suddenly, the world around you becomes a richer, fuller place with learning opportunities that is a better place for all. Leadership is not being elected or appointed to an office. The office does not teach someone how to be a leader. Leadership is an attitude cultivated over time. Are you one that stands up for what you believe? And even when it may be not a popular decision with others, do you have a purpose and follow the purpose to get to the ends you desire? Do you have a vision? These are all qualities that true leaders are able to answer. So how do you become a leader? Each small decision you make takes you one step closer. Remember your goal. Don't sacrifice your purpose. Many see community service as a means to an end. Some might see it as a way to get service points while socializing, while others may view it as an unfortunate necessity of high school life. But it is the true community service. True community service can be best defined when one's repeated acts and unsolicited actions to improve the lives of others. Your character is defined by the conscious and unconscious efforts that you demonstrate through your daily actions. Today, I commend you for all those efforts and actions. I'd like to close with a quote from Robert Penn Walker that I think is most appropriate. History cannot give us a program for the future, but it can give us a fuller understanding of ourselves and our common humanity so that we can better face the future. Congratulations, and I anxiously await the impact each of you will have on the greater community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Benigni. The Rho Kappa National Social Studies Honor Society was established by the National Council for the Social Studies in December 2011. It is the only national organization that recognizes high school juniors and seniors for the excellence in the field of social studies. Rho Kappa was originally established by the Florida Council for the Social Studies in 2000 for the state of Florida. Currently, there are Rho Kappa chapters in 41 different states and the District of Columbia. There's also chapters in China, Germany, Italy, and Singapore. We are one of the 22 chapters in Connecticut and we are honored to induct the third cohort of Berlin High School.
The period of time from March 2020 to now has been incredibly difficult for people all across the world. Here in Berlin, we have definitely had our own struggles, but our community has persevered. The BHS chapter of Rho Kappa has quickly and easily adapted to the new circumstances. We have hybrid meetings twice a month where we work on projects with some students in person and some on Zoom. So far this year, we have planned this very induction ceremony and developed an informative website about the current rollout of the COVID vaccine. I want to recognize our two project managers, Ben Rowe and Victoria Petruka, for taking the lead on the ceremony and the website. Although this new group of students here tonight is just beginning their time with this organization, I'm very confident that they will continue to make positive change in our school, town, state, country, and beyond. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Tori Cascone, and I'm the Vice President of the Berlin High School chapter of Rho Kappa. According to our bylaws, the Berlin High School chapter of Rho Kappa NCSS is a social studies honor society that will promote scholarship and recognize academic excellence in social studies among high school students. It also encourages interest in, understanding of, and appreciation for the social studies, and the support the interest, knowledge of, and participation in civic affairs through scheduled activities throughout the year. Among the criteria to be eligible for admission in the Berlin High School chapter of Rho Kappa NCSS, students must have completed 4 semesters in the field of social studies and be prepared to complete at least 6 semesters. Students must have a minimum weighted GPA of a 3.5 on the 4.0 BHS scale for social studies courses and an overall GPA of a 3.0 on a 4.0 scale. Additionally, all candidates must have demonstrated civic engagement in the community or school. Most significantly, recognizing student excellence in the social studies is a way for us to make manifest the key facets of Berlin High School's statement of core values and beliefs about learning. Membership in Rho Kappa is a reflection of the skills and dispositions needed for success in a global society, specifically the capacity to explore diverse perspectives, to express thoughtful judgments, to listen with understanding and empathy, and to contribute to a society that respects our differences. These 21 inductees have incredibly impressive academic, extracurricular, and community service resumes. On behalf of last year's class of inductees, we have no doubt that you will continue to make your teachers, your family, and your community proud. Thank you.
At this time, I would like to introduce the president of the Berlin Board of Education, Julia Dennis.
Hello, good evening. My name is Julia Dennis. I'm the chair of the Berlin Board of Education. It is an honor to be here this evening with all of you, and it's so nice to see people in the auditorium. It's a lot more than we get for our board meetings, and it's just really great to be around people and be doing this for the students. So congratulations on your induction to Rho Kappa National Social Studies Honor Society. I am honored to be here tonight, like I said, and I know you have all worked very hard to get to where you are and to be seated here. So I want to share a story about myself when I was your age, which led me to the place I am now, involved in the community and a member of the Board of Education. So I grew up in Massachusetts and I attended East Bridgewater High School. If you haven't heard of Boys State or Girls State, I know Berlin sends students. It was huge at my high school. Students were like slated to go to Girls State or Boys State since middle school. It was the biggest deal ever. I wasn't necessarily for or against it. I just, I filled out the application. I said, let me give it a shot. So I wasn't sure if I would get accepted. It was so competitive. And my peers were talking about this, like I said, since middle school. I wasn't going to be upset if I did not get accepted, just figured let me try it. So I applied, I got in, and I attended in 2001. It was one of the most transformational experiences in my life, and it led me to where I am now. It was the first time I learned about the importance of active citizenship, civic engagement, being involved in my community, and continually giving back. And it has looked different throughout various stages of my life. I also learned that I'm not going to win everything, and I learned the importance of humility and the essence of being humble. I ran for treasurer, and I did not win. I thought it was going to be a landslide, and it was a tough lose. But I walked away from that experience learning so much. I learned that it's okay to fail. Because of that one application I filled out, that willingness to take a risk, that 1 week at Girl State in 2001, I walked away with so many life lessons that have driven my choices today and have stayed with me 20 years later. So ever since that time, I've always made sure I've voted, especially in my local elections. I make sure I learn about the candidates, even if I really don't feel like I have time or the local election just might not matter. That's sarcasm. So during that week in 2001 was the first time I actually learned about the Board of Education. And I thought to myself, wow, that would be really cool if I could do that one day. And that's actually, I'm 100% serious about that. That's not, fabricated. So, today I make it a priority to get involved in the community both I live in and work in. And through each experience of civic engagement, I've learned, met people, and just learned the importance of being an active citizen. Community involvement, civic engagement, it actually pushes me to get out of my comfort zone, but it provides me with a great sense of fulfillment through volunteerism. So we all know the quote, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." In the world we live in today, things have changed so much. It's so important to have active citizens within our community. Today, more than ever before, civic engagement is crucial for the community and our society. I have learned from my own experience serving the community of Berlin. I've had the opportunity to learn to be a better listener, to learn about the local government, learn the importance of my vote. Learning and growing is really important to oneself, but I've also had the opportunity to cultivate positive change. Advocating for students, advocating for funding, advocating for whatever comes across our agenda. So a quote from an American businesswoman, Jillian Michaels, it's actually pretty common: get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Being an active citizen, working to make change in your community, it's not always comfortable or easy. I am a very outgoing person. I love talking with people, but I have to fully embrace putting myself in new situations, getting to know people, and really trying to treat everyone with respect, even if our opinions and viewpoints differ. The last 2 times I ran for Board of Ed, people would always come up to me and say, "Wow, you ran such a good campaign, you were always out there, you're so active." But what they don't know is that I would dread every single time I would go out and ask for a signature or give out my flyer or go to a field or meet a parent. But I would push myself, and through that, I've met people, I learned more about the community, I learned how to listen, I learned how to get out of my comfort zone, and as a result, I grew. So I encourage you to be a contributing member of this community. This is your community. An active citizen, and embrace civic engagement. Make the changes you want to see. It's doable. Take the risks and be okay with failing. Whether it was a success or a failure, find teachable moments and continue to give back. Congratulations to all of you, and thank you for having me here tonight.
Thank you, Mrs. Dennis. Before formally inducting and recognizing our 21 students, on behalf of the Berlin High School chapter of Rho Kappa NCSS, we would also like to express our gratitude to the following individuals for their efforts and support in making this evening possible. First, our principal, Eileen Eustis. Her administrative assistant, Helen Dorito. And our head of custodians, Ash Zaitoon. Special thanks as well to Nick Smith, our tech specialist, And we would also like to thank the faculty, administrators, and district personnel in attendance this evening. I would also like to personally thank our advisors for Rho Kappa, Dr. Basso, Mr. Rush, Ms. Wilkos, and Ms. Marchetti, who take time out of their days so that we can put this on, and without them, this wouldn't have been possible.
Candidates, you are being presented for induction in Rho Kappa, a society whose purpose is to honor excellence in the social studies. It is an honor to be selected for membership, and we congratulate each of you for attaining this distinction. Our name, Rho Kappa, is taken from two words of Semitic origin. Rho is derived from resh, meaning head, and Kappa is derived from kap, which means palm of the hand. Both of these terms symbolize our firm belief that knowledge without service is useless. Each of you meets the requirements for membership, and this includes superior work in your social studies courses, as well as participation in school or community service. Your work demonstrates your character and your promise. The principal purpose of Rho Kappa is to stimulate a deeper and more comprehensive understanding of all the academic disciplines comprising the social studies curriculum. Thus, on this occasion, it is appropriate to take a moment and reflect on the significance and contributions of the social studies in the development of the individual. There are 4 principles that members of Rho Kappa pledge to uphold. The first is truth. In social studies, we seek the truth. The truth we seek is untarnished by prejudice or bias. It is this search that leads to greater understanding of the world and humanity's place in it. The second principle is knowledge. As a member of Rho Kappa, you are a seeker of knowledge and thus continue to build upon your understanding of the past in order to create a future of your own and that of the world in which we live. The third principle is wisdom. Wisdom is the tool we use to discern what is true and how to value that truth. The fourth principle is service. True civic engagement in school or community service lies not within what you do, but why you do it.
At this time, we ask our candidates for induction to please rise. As a candidate for induction into the Berlin High School chapter of Rho Kappa NCSS, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I promise to serve others, to search for truth, to utilize knowledge, and to seek wisdom through the pursuit of academic excellence in the social studies. I promise service to Berlin High School and to the community for true scholars of the social studies, lead by example, and improve the world around us.
We now declare you members of Rho Kappa. As your name is called, please come to the podium and sign the official ledger as a new inductee, and then proceed to receive your certificate and citation.
Sarah Al-Mozani. Bailey Bakwatsky. Maya Barbagallo. Sage Beatman. Natalia Hojepa. Ryan Sear. Jonathan Diamore. Isabella DeFrancesco. Jocelyn DiMatteo. Alexander Dobosh. Benjamin Fisher. Griffin Hilby. Scene Hunt. Dan Lamorex. Grace Lazara. Claire McGeever. Simon Gnarl. Olivia Selena. Jacob Smalley. Michael Vignone.
Mr. Line was a longtime member of the Berlin High School Social Studies Department, retiring this past year. Among his many roles, he taught many of us in his AP course, Government and Politics. We are honored to have him back to share some words of wisdom to our current group of inductees.
Hi. It's so good to see you all. Friends. This is going to be emotional for me, I can tell already, huh? thank you for asking me to come. It was just very flattering, especially coming from you all. Congratulations. You know, I say the who's in it, and that should make you feel good because you're in good company. All great citizens, all work very hard. So you should be proud of yourself. I'm proud of you. I know your advisors are proud of you. I know your parents are proud of you. So hopefully you are, because you've worked hard for this, but you also have a talent. And I was listening to the speeches earlier, and they kind of stole my thunder. I was going to say a lot of the same things. Involvement is fulfillment. That's exactly right. Learning is a habit. I was going to talk about the way that I sort of teach. I'm out of shape. I haven't taught in a while. Obviously, this is emotional, and I'm not used to microphones. I'm used to moving around a class, as you know. Maybe I should do that. I have a lot to say. It's been a while, and it's always good to come and vent with you guys. And so as I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about, I was kind of two minds. So I'm going to kind of try to do both things. So kind of juggle, and hopefully this will work. If it doesn't work, I apologize. Part of it's selfish. I wanted to talk about what happened. The last time I really saw a lot of you in person was, I call it the storm. It was before the storm, wasn't it? It felt like a snow day. I always said, you're only as good as your last class. And I'll never forget my last class, sitting there and watching the students. It was a real history class, and they were just sitting there, and I go, they're sitting there like it's going to be a snow day. It's going to be a big snowstorm, and it's going to last about a week, and we're not going to be back in a week. And that's kind of the way they're acting right now. Well, it was a big snowstorm, huh? And we did the Zoom thing, and that was good, but my God, I just don't ever really feel like there was closure. We were touching base, and all that. So in a minute, I'm going to ask you all two things that you want me to know, observations. Well, one thing, I keep saying two, because I'm like, we can't stay here all night. And I'd like to talk about it like that, but we don't have the time. I understand that. Dr. Bosso gave me 10 minutes. Plus, I'm hungry. So I'm going to talk about the focus on the process. And I was thinking about it. I thought through my thoughts, and I said, well, I'm just going to tell them things that they already know and they already understand. That's why you're here, is the idea that involvement is fulfilling, that learning is a habit. You've already figured that out. You're way ahead of me. I didn't have it figured out, and I don't know if your parents did or not. I imagine some of them are like so impressed with you, because I'm impressed with you. Is just your ability to get involved and do things and find fulfillment in that. And if I had to sort of take my message and put it in words, it's embrace new opportunities and listen. And so when I talk about embrace, it's not seize the day. Seize the day always has this sort of implication, I'm going to just go and take advantage of it because I'm never going to have this opportunity again. No, that's not what I mean. I mean, do it right. Do it with everything you got. And then you'll get something out of it. You'll realize, you'll learn, it'll be rewarding. So like when I think about teaching, I didn't teach for the money. The money was nice. Summer vacation was great. But my God, I miss teaching. I really do. The interaction, that was fun. I don't miss correcting. God. I actually go and watch TV at night now. But I miss the interaction. And I'm selfish. And that's what I'm kind of saying, is it's a selfish thing. And then there's the good that comes out of it. The analogy I kind of have is, if you go Christmas caroling, don't go because you want to go and make other people happy. Go because you like singing. And you're going to enjoy singing. And yes, people will be happy about it. But you're getting that fulfillment, and you're growing, and you're doing good, if you know what I mean. The good is kind of a peripheral, tangent thing that comes of that. All right, now at this point, I'd be interacting. You guys get that? So The second thing I wanted to say about it, sorry, so you're doing that, and then the second thing I wanted to say was, when you do something, do it with a humbleness and a compassion and seeking to understand the moment. My other teachers tease me about having a Buddhist attitude, and this is a little Buddhist in some ways, and that you're removing the filters, and you're just trying to see the honest, what's there, and understand the situation so that you can get to the truth without any prejudicial, preconceived ideas. So that's the listen part. And listening involves reflection, doesn't it? Thinking about what you just heard. So I want you to embrace it, do the best you can do when you do it, and then listen. So when you go out into the community and you talk to people in the community, think that through. How can I make this work? How can I make this person comfortable so that I get the most out of this situation? Embrace it, go through the process, and then listen to what these people in the community say to you. And you'll engage them, and you'll grow as a person. And that's why you should be doing this. And then there's that sort of tangible, that part that comes with it. All right, so that's sort of the lesson. What I wanted to do is talk about, sort of do the processing as a way of example of how thinking about something makes it better. All right, so now what's one thing you would like to say to me about this past year and this COVID thing? I know some of you probably want to talk about the election, but we got to stay out of politics, right? What would you say? What's one reflection you've had about this that, God, I don't know if you've been talking about in classes or not. I'm out of touch as far as that's concerned.
You're appreciating the little things more. Seeing your friends occasionally when you can, to come in after school, if they're not in the same cohort as you. Just the little things make you that much happier.
Would you say that you're less happy, or you just
Take things as they come.
good?
I would say that I really learned, like what Johnson said is appreciation, but I also learned how important human connection is, how to really listen to somebody, because you don't know how much time you really have, and I think that really brought to my eyes through Corona.
Absolutely. Victoria? I said it. I knew I was going to mess up my name. Olivia helped me out.
I would say definitely trying to roll with the punches and adapt as quickly as you can.
So you become more flexible,
Absolutely.
and you value that, Sage.
Well, in your class, we were very engaged, and we had surprise seminar kind of discussions, and we were always going back and forth about policies and politics and everything like that. And with the COVID hybrid model, we weren't able to have those discussions. So it's like a new way of learning, and we all had to adapt.
Also, to be careful with your sport, because I remember I wanted the break to come a day earlier. We had overnight quiz in the car. And if I could go back, I would appreciate it.
Friday the 13th, too, it was, man. I remember it clearly. Oh. It was a full moon, too. One more? For me, it's the isolation, I think. I think it's been challenging for everybody. I think for extroverts, I have a friend who's an extrovert, and I said this, and he was just, you're so right. I said, I think extroverts have died on the vine. They're just like, oh my God, I can't handle this. And I think in some ways it's been way harder on extroverts than introverts. I don't think introverts, I don't know it's been all that natural or healthy for introverts to all of a sudden just kind of just withdraw and not have this interaction. I mean, they're happy about it, but really they should be developing that interaction, I would think, especially for students. But I think it's been challenging for extroverts. I think it's the isolation is, I think, what we try to sort of pass on has been the challenge. And so then I start thinking about, all right, so one of my favorite lessons used to be the bubonic plague, when I used to teach European history, because it was just so fascinating to me to think through it and to think about the plague. And, you know, of course, I'm not going to ever go through a plague, right? But yet here we are. I don't know if it compares or not. Does it? That's kind of an open question. A third of it's estimated a quarter to a third of the Europeans died. And it wasn't like a uniform thing. It was like, and it took place, it came in waves. And a wave would hit, and it hit some towns and just obliterate a town. And then some other towns and some other areas were kind of left untouched. And then maybe the next wave came and they got it, or maybe they totally escaped. But people reacted differently to that. Let's think about for a minute here what it would have been like, and this is me teaching, because this is what I like doing, so you got to put up with me. Think about what it would have been like. How is it different? Yeah, the plague was a virus. I don't know if you know that or not. It was fleas that carried it, and you know, hygiene wasn't much in those days. People bathed once a year. I don't know if you know that or not. They did in May, and the baby was the last one to bathe. I don't know if you knew that. For obvious reasons, probably the dirtiest. But that's where the expression "don't throw the bathwater out," don't throw the baby out where the bathwater is. So you can imagine. But, so no technology. They didn't know where's this coming from, right? What else can we think about? What other observations?
We now have history to look back on and evaluate, like the plague, so we can see how it affected the people then and how it affects us now, what we can do to better ourselves.
Yeah, they didn't even know how to read or write, you know. One of the things that came out of the plague, I don't know if you know this or not, was Gutenberg Bible was sort of the first book printed, and it became accessible for people. But the cloth, books are very expensive. Well, guess what? They had a lot of cloth because all these people died. So now all of a sudden it became easier to print books. Books became cheaper. There were different responses. Some of the rich hightailed it out, sought isolation. Other people, they're like, I don't know what this is, and I may die. I'm going to go celebrate. Or celebrate's probably the wrong word, but live hard, and they did. Went to the tavern every night. How would you react if all your neighbors were dying? Be scary. What if half the town died? Do you go in that house? Do you go in their houses? People moved into the other people's houses. They didn't know how it was spread, so why not? So there was an element of anarchy to it all. And institutions sort of crashed. You know, like what happens if all of the town leaders died? The policemen died. Now what? And one of the things that came out of it is the end of serfdom, which I don't know if you're aware of or not, is kind of the slavery in Europe. Because farmers had crops in the fields and nobody to take care of it. So they would offer to pay people. When you used to have all these free labor. So they would pay people to come, and that was kind of the end of serfdom. So is that a positive or not? I don't know. But they didn't have the media, the technology, the science, as we've mentioned. And so there was no message about what it was. I imagine it was pretty wild. You know, if you think about it, all of a sudden this sort of arbitrary thing starts showing up and people die and you don't know the reason why. And there's nobody telling you anything about it. Now, I don't know if I've piqued your interest or not, but the point of all this is that once you start getting involved with something and learning about it, it becomes more interesting. And that's the embracing part. If you go and talk to someone in the community about the Vietnam War or 9/11 or whatever it is, once you start talking to them, if you listen, you'll start to learn and grow. And it'll be rewarding for you and certainly rewarding for them because you'll have that engagement. And my big hope, and what I think will hopefully come out of it, is this isolation that we're in now can end. And that will be what you can do your part. And the isolation for yourself and for other people. So if we do start to get back to a regular routine next year, I encourage you to do that, to go out, embrace, seize the opportunities, work hard, and listen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Line. If we could just get another round of applause. At this time, to offer closing remarks, I would like to introduce Principal of Berlin High School, Eileen Eustis.
Good evening, and thank you so much for being here tonight. This really is actually a very emotional event. This is the first, aside from our sporting events, this is our first activity that we've had in person in a year's time, and it really feels very momentous, and I believe this was one of the last events that we had last year at this time. Before we went out. So it is very heartwarming for all of us as adults to have our students here and to have our family members here in celebrating your accomplishments tonight. So just very exciting. So congratulations to all of our students here tonight, and I'm so pleased that we were able to hold this event in person. Who would have thought even 4 or 5 weeks ago that we were going to be able to do this? So very exciting again for all of us. I'm honored to be a part of our Berlin High School Rho Kappa Honor Society induction ceremony. And it is because of the incredible students here tonight who have demonstrated outstanding work in the area of social studies and civic engagement that inspired the teachers of our social studies department to begin this chapter. This honor carries a very special distinction, one that I firmly believe our students that we are celebrating here tonight will fulfill with purpose, passion, and pride. Remember your tenets of this honor society. Spread your knowledge and wisdom, model truth, and continue to provide service. We are proud of you and the way in which you demonstrate the spirit of the Berlin High School Redcoat. I look forward to seeing what you will accomplish and how you will inspire others as scholars of social studies. I want to thank Mr. Line for being here tonight and for your words of wisdom. Although you are retired from Berlin High School, you are clearly forever a teacher, as you demonstrated here tonight, and we do miss you, so we were so happy to have you here tonight. I also want to thank our distinguished guests, families, and friends that joined us here tonight. And please join me in congratulating our new members one last time. Congratulations. I would like to thank our current members and officers. You guys did a fabulous job tonight in putting this ceremony together. And I would just again want to thank everybody for coming, and have a good evening.